what's up? It's Breyonna. So today we're going to be using another one of the Bratz palettes, and that is the Jade Palette. And I don't know about you guys, but oh my gosh, like this is probably my favorite out of all the palettes of the four like girls, because this one has just a really unique color story to it and also has cats on the packaging. And you know how I feel about kitty cats. I love cats. But like the color story of this is just something you never see. It's pink and green. I mean, how cool is that? And also the greens, they're like those smoky, grungy kind. And I know a lot of you guys are like me and you love those types of greens. But also we have these really fun and bright pinks mixed in. And this like green shimmer shade right here just looks absolutely stunning. I don't know why my hair was doing that, but like I am so excited to use this one. And also I will be reviewing the full collection in separate videos, you know, showcasing each of the palettes. So if you'd like to check out any of the other looks I have done using this collection, I'll have them all linked in the description box down below for you. I even found this cute like fuzzy shirt in my closet. I have never worn it before because it's just so warm. It's definitely like the material that you wear, you know, in fall and winter because it's just so heavy with the knit. But like I couldn't resist how cute it would be with like the Y2K vibes of the palette. So we're just gonna see how it goes. But let's go in with the palette. And the first shade I want to go in with is this really pretty kind of like grungy yellowy green. And this one's called Runway Walk. This is my kind of color, and also it is a little bit dusty in the pan. But I'm just taking it on this brush from Luxie, and oh my gosh, like that is so pigmented. I barely put my brush into the pan either, but this brush is a 205, again from Luxie. And I'm just popping it in my crease and then blending it upwards towards my brow. I'm also rounding out my outer V too. Like this shade though is just really intense. Again, like that's just one layer. So I'm gonna do a second layer. Let's see what happens. I was just not expecting this shade to be this pigmented because with the Chloe palette, the shades were a little bit more on the buildable side. But like this one really caught me off guard. Ooh, this shirt that was making me toasty, but I'm gonna be taking it on this pinch little blending brush from Morphe. This is an M433, and on the brush it looks really pigmented. But again, I'm first going to apply it in that crease, and that looks really good right away. And then I'm going to be blending it up. So I'm gonna go in with a second layer. Kind of use it to help like smooth everything and you know, just make it look pretty. But again, like this shade's really pigmented right away. I don't feel like you'd have to layer it up. But I feel like the second layer just makes it a little bit more easy to work with, and it just looks more smooth all around. Like it's not like a patchy looking shade. I just feel like the second layer just kind of makes it look, you know, just a little bit more put together. I will warn you though, this shade isn't like terrible to blend out, but it is giving me a slight harsh line like right in here. It's not horrible, but again, it is a little bit tricky to blend out fully. I'm also just gonna go back in with that brush that we applied that yellowy color with. Nothing additional on it. And buffing out the edge. Okay, that helped a lot, but again, I don't feel like I'm getting like the perfect blend, so I'm just gonna go in with more of the runway shade. Yeah, this is one of those shades you kind of have to work with a little bit. Again, it's not terrible. It's just, if you want it to look like super blended, you have to go in between the shade that you put previously down and then this one to get a perfect blend. But again, it didn't take me like 20 minutes to do this. Like it was actually fairly quick. It's just if you don't like fussing with your shadows, you might not like this green because of it. But you can see like it looks really nice and smooth. And there's nothing wrong with it. So I do want to deepen up things just a little bit more because you know I like a lot of definition with my looks. Like I just think it looks really cool. But I'm going to go in with this shade called Mannequin, and it's kind of like one of those like grayish, greenish brown kind of shades. It's just very earthy. So I'm just going to be taking it on this brush from Luxie. This is a 237, and I'll be honest, like looking at it on the brush, it doesn't look that pigmented, but you know what? You know, things can change when it's applied. And again, I'm just going to pop it right in there. You know what? That actually has a decent amount right away. Because again, this brush is a little bit more on the sparse side because I didn't want to use something super dense because I don't want it to be like crazy dark. Because again, I don't want it to like overpower the crease because I do want like that green punchy pop. So I'm just going to do a second layer. Actually, like that shade's pretty nice. And so far, I don't think it's giving much of a harsh line. It is a little bit like right in here. Now I'm just gonna go back in with that brush that we applied that darker green with. Nothing additional on it, and I'm just gonna like kiss the edge. But yeah, I don't think it looks bad. Like I actually think it looks pretty nice. Again, when applied, it almost looks a little bit more of like a grayish kind of shade, like a deeper gray. I don't really see much of a brown to it. I still really like it. It almost kind of looks like a charcoal. So I just cut the crease and I did like a half cut crease off camera because I want to do like something funky on the lid, and I feel like this is going to be like the perfect cut crease to do it with. But I'm now going to take a little bit more of Mannequin and I'm just going to pack it on that harsh line right here on the edge, just to mask it. So again, I don't want it to look chunky. And I'm going maybe like a third of the way in. Yeah, something like that. You know, about a yay amount. But you can kind of see the shade actually looks a little bit patchy when packed down, so just keep that in mind. I don't know if you can see it, but it just looks kind of uneven. Okay, so now let's start applying the shimmers, and I don't know if this is gonna look good or not because I want to do something a little bit different with the order. But the first one I want to go in with is this hot pink one, and it looks like it's very kind of like chunky and sparkly in the pan. And this one's called Get Noticed. Like, it's very like buttery in the pan too. It just has like this like creaminess to it, but at the same time it's kind of chunky feeling. I will warn you, it is a little bit hard to pick it up on my brush. Like, it almost kind of like hard panned right away, which is kind of weird. And again, like, my brush is dry, so I don't know why it's doing that. I think I got a good amount on my brush. And I'm just gonna first apply to the center of the lid, and like literally, where did it go? I mean, you see that? Like literally just like a speck of color. And I don't know if you can see it or not in the pan, but it's like hard panned already. And again, like, my brush is dry. I don't understand why it's doing that. I'm gonna take my finger. It's almost like too creamy in a way, and it almost feels sticky when I dip my finger into it, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. But let's see how it applies this way. Yeah, this is way better, but you can see it like sticks and doesn't like blend out. Really, really weird. I think at this point we just have to kind of go in with it. And yeah, like, you see what I mean? Like, I'm literally applying it and trying to like buff it out, and it just doesn't want to. Like, watch this, see? Like, it doesn't taper. I don't understand why it's doing that. Yeah, we're gonna just say screw that shade, and I'm gonna go in with Looking Good instead. And I'm gonna go in with a different brush though, because unfortunately I'm gonna have to put this shade on my other eye too, just so they match better. But see how this one is. This one doesn't have that like hard pan to it when I dip my brush in. This is more like an icy, like pink-ish, kind of like lavender kind of shade. I'm gonna pop this right on top. Oh yeah, like this one's way better. You see that pigment right away? Yeah, like that first shade though, terrible. Like, not a fan. But this one though, super sparkly, very metallic. It has a lot of dimension to it, but it almost looks very textured on the eye. You know, let's apply it to the other eye and see how that looks. Maybe it's just the Get Noticed shade underneath that's making it look textured. But it's like accentuating every little fine line I got on my lid. See, now it's doing this thing where it's not like sticking, like, ugh. There we go. One of those shimmers you kind of have to layer up. Yeah, I think it's that Get Noticed shade, that hot pink, that made it look weird. Because now it's acting fine on this eye. You can see, like, when I tilt my head up, do you see all that texture? It's just, ugh, like, it looks horrible in person. So now I'm just going to take a little bit more of Mannequin and pack it on the outer edge of the shimmer to blend it in. Yeah, like, it's not really easy to apply this matte on top of the shimmer just for how, like, chunky it is. And now we're going to go in with a shade that I am the most excited for out of this whole palette, and that is this beautiful green shade right here. Like, it's just so icy, chunky, and super sparkly. And this one's called Like My Outfit. And it almost looks kind of like a silvery kind of shade with like green reflect in it, and it's like really bright green too. Just a very eye-catching shade. And I'm just going to be taking it on a different flat shader brush. I cleaned this one off. I actually applied the bright pink shimmer with it, but I cleaned it first. The shade has like that nice buttery texture to it when you dip your brush into it, but you have to be a little bit careful though too, because it does kind of crumble. But I'm just going to take just the smallest amount first. Okay, that's a cool shade. Let's see how it looks. And oh, that is pretty. Honestly, I think this would make a really cool highlighter too, if you're into like super like glittery kind. But I'm going to take a little bit more on my brush. Kind of like finesse it. I will say though, these shimmers do have a little bit of fallout. So honestly, in general, a lot of these shades have some fallout, so you'll definitely want to do your eyes before your face, just because it's so much easier to clean up, and then you don't have to deal with having to fix your foundation. So I just applied my complexion products off camera, otherwise this video would be super crazy long, but let's do the lower lash line, and I'm first going to go in with that Mannequin shade on this really tiny shader brush from the Morphe Madison Beer collection. And I'm going to get it as close as I can to where my lashes grow out. You can kind of see like the shade's just a little bit on the chunky side. So you kind of have to work with it. Now I'm just going to go in with Trendsetter. Again, on this brush from Morphe. This is, I don't know, it's like a pointed little shader brush. It's just a very unique brush. Again, from the Madison Beer collection. And the last I'm just going to go in with Runway Walk on this brush from Luxie. This is a 231 small taper blending brush. And I am going to be like smoking things down fairly far because I just like how it looks with green eyeshadow. You don't have to go as far down as I'm going to though. Originally, I was going to go in with the Icy White Called Coolness for my inner corner highlight, but honestly, I want to go in with this green because it's just way cooler and just a little bit more unique. But I'm going to be taking it on this Anastasia A14 little pencil brush. I'm just going to pack it really heavy in that inner corner. Oh yeah, that was the play. I mean, look at how blinding that is. And it just has so much dimension to it, it just looks really cool. I'm just going to take a little bit more on my brush. Kind of finesse it underneath the eye a little bit too. So for the waterline, I'm just going to go in with the pencil liner in Jade. I don't know if this is going to look good or not because this is kind of like a pinky, like almost mauve-y kind of shade. Isn't necessarily something I would pair with this eye look, but you know what? We're just trying new things today. So let's see how it looks. Yeah, I like the formula. I just don't like it placed there. Like it just, I don't know. Doesn't really look that good. Yeah, I wish it was just like a little bit brighter of a color. And then the last time I'm going to be going in with is the Plumping Gloss in the color Jade. And I'm just saying, these glosses are spicy. And I'm one of those people, I literally eat Taco Bell's Diablo sauce and like Tabasco on everything. And I even find this one spicy on my lips, so I mean, just take it that way. But again, it's not like it's uncomfortable, you can just feel it. It just kind of has like this tingly like spiciness to it. And it's not like the minty kind of spice either, but oh, I love the color of this. And it kind of smells like a minty vanilla in a way. It's very light. Just gonna pop it right in the center. I wasn't too sure if it looked good with this lip liner or not. Actually, I think it looks really cute. Kind of wanted a cool tone moment on the lips. I almost went in with chocolate brown, but I didn't think that this gloss would look good over chocolate brown. And I'm so happy I did this one instead. For some odd reason, this one just seems like it's a little bit more liney than the other one I've used. You can see it like right here. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I didn't apply that much, so I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to wipe off some and then I'll be right back. So I just kind of like blotted it off a little bit, and I don't know, like there's something about this one. It's like more stringy in a way and a little bit more sticky. And I've used this one before, and the first time I used it, it didn't do that. And even after wiping some off, it's still kind of doing it on this outer edge. So I don't know what's up with this, but we're just gonna roll with it for now. And the lip liner though that I have underneath is this one from NYX. Oh my gosh, I love this lip liner so much. It's like $4 at Ulta. And this one's in the shade Nude Beige, and it's like the best like cool tone, like nudie kind of color. And it's not one of those cool tones that has pink in it. It's like a true like brownish cool tone kind of nude. So now that I've had the gloss on for a little bit, now it's not acting gummy or sticky and it's not getting on my teeth. I don't know what's up with it. Maybe it just doesn't like the lip liner I have underneath or something, but the first time I used it, it was completely fine and I really liked it, and now it's acting a little bit weird. So I'm not too sure how I feel about it, but you know, we're just gonna roll with the video anyways. So let's talk about the palette, and I will say the only shade that gave me any issues today, like a serious issue, is this pink shimmer shade. Like, oh, like it just has like the weirdest formula. It's almost like sticky when you apply it, and it doesn't like blend out, and it has like this weird texture on the eyes too. I don't like it at all. Otherwise, the other shades in here are fairly nice. Like the mattes in here, they have a really nice amount of pigmentation to them. I will say this dark green shade right here called Trendsetter. Now this one can be a little bit tricky to blend out. Like it doesn't give like a severe amount of harsh lines, But if you are a beginner and you're not used to using deeper shadows, you might struggle with it a little bit. But let's just be honest here, the shimmers are where it's at. They are so sparkly and extra. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. Like, oh, like I am obsessed with this shade. As for the pencil liner, I really thought this was so creamy. It had a really nice pigmentation to it. The only thing is I don't like the color of this liner with this look. Like, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't pair that well. I wish it was a baby pink instead. But still, I think it has a nice formula to it, and I would definitely use it again. And lastly, the Plumping Gloss in the shade Jade. You know how I feel about this. It is very spicy, but it's not like uncomfortable on the lips. You can just definitely feel it, and it's also not like one of those like minty kind of tinglies either. Like, it's kind of like on the spicier side. But again, this is one of the very few plumping gloss formulas that I can actually see a visual difference with like the volume of my lips. Because a lot of glosses, they say that they're plumping, but when I apply them, I see absolutely no difference. But with this one, I can definitely see it. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend these products to you? The eyeshadow palette, I will say, I think it's a really nice palette overall. Is it my new favorite palette? No. But it is like an okay palette, and I do see myself using it, again, especially for the shimmers in there because they are so pretty and they have a lot of dimension to them. But again, if you're not willing to work with the mattes in there, especially the deeper ones like I use today, you're probably not going to like this palette because you do have to finesse them a little bit. Again, it's not like a lot of work to get them to look good. It's just, it does take a little bit of time. Is it a beginner-friendly palette? I mean, it kind of depends as to how much of a beginner you are and how much you are willing to work with your shadows. Like, if you're a true beginner and you haven't really tried that many makeup products, you might struggle with this one because, again, it does give a little bit of harsh lines. They're not severely there, but they are noticeable. But if I was like a true beginner, I'd probably pass on this one unless you want it for the shimmers because, again, the shimmers in here are amazing and they have a lot of dimension to them. But it's kind of like one of those things, I don't know if I would recommend getting a palette just for the shimmers, if you know what I mean. Like, that's a little bit on the wasteful side. And again, I would also recommend the liners because, oh, like the formula of these is just so creamy. They last in the waterline all day and they just have a really nice amount of pigment to them. And I will say I am now a little bit apprehensive about the gloss. I'll keep you guys updated. But so far, I'm just kind of like meh about it because the first time I used it, I had a good experience. And this time around, I'm a little bit, you know, why is it so gummy? But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look. And also let me know which palette I should use next. But as always though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!